So this guy's wife dumps him for being a forensic doctor, even cheating with a pretty boy. But on the very night of the divorce, our guy immediately hooks up with that exact pretty boy's fiancée.
And man, she is gorgeous, absolutely stunning with a killer figure.
Spending the night with her? Yeah, he definitely got the better end of this deal. He figured it was just a one-night stand, but then he transfers to a brand new police department.
Turns out she's actually the criminal investigation captain there, and she spots him immediately. Keeping her composure, she acts completely cold as the chief introduces her as the big boss.
He just smiles and greets her as Captain Xiao.
She responds with a completely distant look, acting like they are total strangers.
Talk about a poker face. She acts so professional now, but he remembers that wild night. Captain Xiao Ting politely shakes his hand and immediately tries to pull away. But our guy grips her hand tight, making her glare at him in shock. He just smirks, and she yanks her hand back, calling him Forensic Dr. Yi. She coldly warns him that she expects top-tier work and tells him not to disappoint her.
Hearing his teasing question, she completely ignores him. She just turns around and walks straight to her office with long, fast strides.
Anyway, Ye heads down to the forensic lab to check out his new autopsy table. But just as he's setting up, his assistant Xiao Yang rushes in with urgent news.
Someone just fished a suspicious suitcase out of Qingshan Lake.
And inside is a floating corpse, so it's time to move. They rush to the lakeside scene. Xiao Ting and her investigation squad are already on the scene.
Even from a distance, the terrible stench hits them while Xiao Ting questions the fisherman.
One officer asks if he can handle the brutal smell.
No problem at all. Xiao Ting steals a glance at him, realizing he looks totally different when he works. Because on the job, our main character is deadly serious, calm, and fully focused. Everyone watches in awe as Forensic Dr. Ye gets right to work. Looking at the heavily decomposed body, they wonder if they can even identify her. He notes the victim is a female, around 40 to 45 years old. She was about 160 to 165 centimeters tall, dead for over a year. But for the exact cause of death, they need a full autopsy. They will have to run toxicological tests and a systematic dissection back at the lab. Xiao Ting immediately takes charge, telling her team to contact the hydrology department. She wants all the water flow and lake level data from the past year. This will help them pin down exactly when and where the body was dumped. She also orders a search on all missing local women matching that profile. With instructions to trace the suitcase model as well, the whole team gets busy. By afternoon, Xiao Ting drops by the forensic lab to ask for the autopsy results. Ye reveals the victim was strangled unconscious first. Then, someone bashed her head with a blunt object, causing fatal brain damage. Her broken hyoid bone shows she suffered some extreme violence right before dying.
However, those fractures alone weren't actually enough to suffocate her. He points out that bone fragments were actually driven deep into her skull.
She was brutally beaten repeatedly, starting with strangulation and ended by a blunt weapon.
The evidence proves the killer had clear intent, meaning this definitely wasn't some impulsive crime of passion.
Next, they need to run a three-dimensional skull reconstruction to figure out the blunt weapon's exact shape. They also have to extract trace residue from the bones to lock down the specific murder weapon type. She thanks him, but he says it is just his basic duty. But right as our forensic doctor is about to run more tests, his stomach growls incredibly loud. Honestly, it makes sense since it has been almost 7 hours since they started this morning. Seeing he hasn't eaten anything, Captain Xiao quietly tells him to stop working.
Go get some food, she says. It is fine.
He smirks, asking in what capacity she is ordering him around. Is it as his casual hookup or as the ex-fiancée of his pretty boy colleague? He walks away without looking back, leaving the beautiful captain staring at his insanely smug silhouette. Annoyed, she raises her foot to kick him, but this guy literally has eyes in the back of his head. He suddenly spins around and catches her red-handed mid-kick. She claims Dr. Yi has a deep prejudice against her, but he just scoffs at that.
They have connected on the deepest level, yet she pretends they are total strangers.
She fires back, reminding him of his promise after that wild night.
Didn't he say he would never pester her again, or was he just afraid of getting addicted?
Or maybe the way he looks at her now isn't so innocent after all. At this point, Ye whispers that her cold, aloof attitude makes him want to kiss her until she cries. She gets serious, warning him this is the absolute last time.
She refuses to get involved with any coworker outside of their professional duties.
No more hookups, no more one-night stands, and that is final. But here is the thing. Our boy Ye is a total rebel at heart. The more she tries to push him away and pretend nothing ever happened,
the more he feels this overwhelming urge to tease her and mess with her head. Eventually, they both head down to the cafeteria where their colleague Chen Zhao waves them over. Ye nods, grabs his food, and sits down right across from the beautiful captain.
They chat about the case, but then Chen Zhao tries to lighten the mood.
She shifts the topic, pointing out how handsome and professional Ye is.
She casually asks if a catch like him has a girlfriend yet.
When he says no, Chen Zhao gets excited, saying that is amazing.
She mentions their captain is single too, trying to ship the two of them. Xiao kicks her under the table, telling her to shut up, eat, and stop playing matchmaker. Chen Zhao whines, asking if she's still hung up on her ex-fiancé. She complains that the ex was a greasy, pretentious loser who never deserved Xiao anyway.
But Xiao completely snaps, ordering her to shut her mouth and just eat.
Terrified by the captain's glare, Chen Zhao whimpers and finally shuts up.
Watching her act so fierce, Ye secretly reaches out his leg under the table and kicks her. Since she pretends nothing happened, he smirks and kicks her a second time.
Annoyed, Xiao stands up and says she is full, leaving Chen Zhao confused.
She wonders if the captain's bad temper is because she is on her period. Right after lunch, Ye gets an urgent phone call from his close buddy Xiao Yibai. His friend is absolutely fuming, yelling that he is about to explode from pure rage.
Ye tells him to calm down and explain who exactly got on his nerves. Yibai growls, wishing he could literally teleport right now to destroy that absolute scumbag.
Honestly, his friend tells him to pull some savage payback and completely break her mind. Apparently, the friend just used an alt account to spy on her new Toy Boy social media. And get this, that absolute trash girl, Fu Nian Nian, actually bought him a whole Rolex.
Like, bro, you guys were married for so long, and did she ever buy you anything decent?
She clearly never cared about you at all, so listen to me, just block her everywhere and delete her contacts already. But our main character is totally over it, saying he has absolutely nothing to do with Fu Nian Nian anymore, because the second those divorce papers were signed, she became history.
Who she buys expensive watches for or how much she flexes online is none of his business.
His friend tells him not to waste his energy getting mad because she is literally blind. Imagine throwing away an amazing guy like you just to settle for absolute garbage like that.
She is seriously going to regret this later. No shot she won't. After chatting with his buddy, our main character goes right back to the lab to pull an all-nighter. The next morning, he takes his fresh autopsy findings to Captain Xiao Ting, who also did not sleep a single wink last night. He finds the captain busy in the evidence room, checking the exact material of that mysterious suitcase.
And checking the retro rivet work on it, which suggests it was made decades ago by some small local workshop.
Or maybe a custom handmade piece from an old shop, so Captain Xiao tells his assistant, Xiao He, to start digging around the local area.
They need to find any old-school hardware or leather factories that used to make these specific bags. He tells them to pay special attention to closed-down businesses, and right as the assistant heads out, he spots our main character. He instantly greets him, asking if he is here to deliver the new autopsy reports to the captain. Xiao Ting turns around to look at him, and our forensic god walks up to hand over the latest files. Here are the preliminary overnight results, based on a 3D skull reconstruction and impact wound simulation. The blunt force weapon that caused the fatal blow had a circular contact surface of roughly 10 centimeters in diameter. The edges are slightly curved, and the texture is super hard. According to the preliminary checks, it matches the base of a common heavy crystal or thick glass object, like an ashtray, and they also found something else deep in the clothing fibers. They managed to extract trace amounts of fragrance residue, which gave them a major lead after analysis. It locked onto a highly specific and rare rose perfume formula from a very niche and low-key brand.
Xiao Ting is hyped, saying this is gold, while our main character just yawns after working all night.
He tells the detectives that tracking down the buyers and verifying the clues is all on them now.
As for him, he has to go back and catch up on sleep because he is literally dying.
As he drives home to get some rest,
he spots Captain Xiao Ting heading out with the squad to track down the buyers of that perfume. By pulling strings, the captain gets his hands on the purchase history of that niche perfume over the last 2 years.
He narrows it down to female buyers aged 40 to 45, while other officers go out to check the old-school hardware shops. They manage to dig up the original order list for the custom suitcases, and everything starts clicking. The entire search narrows down to a single suspect, a female named Jiang Ning. She is 42 years old and supposedly went abroad to recover from an illness a year ago, but her social media is still updating. Her IP address shows she is overseas, but here is the catch. Her husband, Xu Beiyan, has absolutely zero records of leaving the country to visit her over the past year. Even weirder, none of their neighbors or relatives actually know any real details about her supposedly traveling for treatment. This makes zero sense, and Xiao Ting knows it. He immediately hands over all of Jiang Ning's files from the community to our main character, asking him to check it ASAP. He needs him to verify if the victim's dental records and pelvis structure match Jiang Ning's biological data perfectly, and by that afternoon, our forensic hero hands over the shocking results. It is a match. The victim in the suitcase is indeed Jiang Ning, and Dr. Ye just officially confirmed it. Now that her identity is confirmed, their investigation is officially about to blow wide open. Now the investigation has a clear target. This is no longer some random acid attack case. This is a targeted murder, planned specifically to take down Jiang Ning. The captain calls for a briefing in the main conference room in 5 minutes flat. Who was Jiang Ning? 42 and dead.
She worked as a traditional Chinese painting lecturer at Ye Chen University Art School.
Then, 3 years ago, a brutal crash happened. She survived, but the tendons in her right wrist were completely destroyed. No more fine painting. For an elite art teacher, that is a straight-up career-ending disaster. Then, a year ago, she planned to go abroad to recover her health. Records show she bought a ticket and passed security, but the forensics tell a different story. She likely changed her mind or was forced to back out right before boarding. She never boarded. A total lie. Enter her husband, Xu Beiyan, who is also a professor at Ye Chen University. While she was secretly missing for an entire year, she never actually left the country. Her husband never reported it.
Oddly enough, Jiang Ning's social media accounts kept posting updates every few days.
But wait, only the killer would have access to her phone this whole time. At this point, Xu Beiyan is looking sus as hell, making him prime suspect number 1. At this point, I knew this guy was bad news, but watch how calmly he walks in. Despite looking exhausted, this middle-aged man is clearly built different and extremely well-groomed. No belly, no baldness, pure vibes. He asks the officer with a straight face, "What on earth is going on here?" "Why bring me here?" he asks, and the detective drops a bomb about Jiang Ning. "Murdered a year ago? Impossible," he stammers. He stammers that she is recovering abroad and even texted him just yesterday afternoon. The detective snaps, "You are lying." When you denied it, your eyes kept darting up and to the left. In behavioral analysis, that usually means your brain is actively fabricating a visual lie. You are building a fantasy instead of recalling a memory, and your mouth gave it away. That stiff twitch on your left lip is a classic sign of someone forcing fake surprise. It is a dead giveaway when trying to control your face. You are totally acting. He acts confused about the eye movement. He insists he is just incredibly shocked and devastated by the news of his wife. "My wife is dead. How can you accuse me?" He tries to play the victim, but the detective brings up the texting logs. "Did you ever video call her?" the detective asks, pressing him for real proof. How do you actually know the person typing those texts was really your wife? If she is recovering, where is the proof? Why is there absolutely zero record of you ever leaving the country to see her? Not a single plane ticket, and not even one attempt to video call her either. Does that make sense, Professor? He sighs, claiming she completely changed after that car accident 3 years ago. She hated having him close. Seeing her like that made him walk on eggshells, fearing he would upset her. He didn't even have his last shred of hope to live on anymore. The day he left, I personally saw him off at the airport. Watching him pass security and walk to the gate, if I had known this would happen, I would have stopped him at all costs, or just gone with him. Xiao Ting slams the suitcase and the files right in front of Xu Beiyan without a single emotion. This very suitcase was custom-made 30 years ago by Jiang Ning's parents at a classic hardware shop.
It was her dowry from the legendary Yanggu hardware, but now it just turned up at the bottom of Qingshan Lake.
Inside was Jiang Ning's severely decomposed body. This box vanished from your house, and yet you expect us to believe?
You had absolutely no idea where that suitcase went?
He stammers, claiming maybe he put it in storage. Or maybe he just didn't pay attention because he really had no idea.
He cries out that he thought his wife was still alive, and now they're suddenly saying she's dead?
To make it worse, stuffed in that suitcase. He claims he's more shocked and devastated than anyone.
He keeps repeating how much he loved her, saying Ning Ning's life was worth more than his own.
How could he ever hurt her? If he had even a single malicious thought toward her?
May he die a horrible death. Talk about a dramatic act, but without solid proof.
Even with special clearance, the team can only detain him
For 48 hours, meaning
they have exactly 48 hours to dig up some absolute, undeniable evidence.
Xiao Ting and Chen Wei head over to Ye Chen University to track down the couple's old department supervisor.
The supervisor claims they were the school's legendary model couple, even though Professor Xu came from a really poor background. Word is, he only finished college because Professor Zhang's family sponsored his tuition. Once his own career was stable and secure, he happily married Professor Zhang. Later, when it became clear that Professor Zhang was having major health issues and could never have children, he never complained a single time. He was so incredibly good to her. Meanwhile, investigator Xiao Ting goes to interview Xu Baiyan and Zhang Ning's neighbors. The neighbors are like, oh, officer, Professor Zhu is literally a saint.
A top-tier husband. But ever since Zhang Ning's parents died in that car crash,
And her own hand was injured, her temper apparently became completely unbearable. They could constantly hear her smashing things inside the house,
screaming the most toxic insults at Professor Xu, and the neighbors heard it multiple times.
On the way back to the station, Cheng Mengqi is totally speechless. This guy is a devoted, grateful husband at school and a helpless victim who never talks back to his neighbors.
His devoted husband persona was crafted so perfectly that it's actually crazy, giving him the perfect alibi.
And because of this saintly reputation, absolutely nobody ever suspected him. Xiao Ting immediately calls the tech department to track the IP address of Zhang Ning's recent social media activity. Someone definitely spoofed the IP to make it look like she's living abroad. But they're actually right here in the country. She tells Chen Wei to check into Chao Baiyan's student records back in his college days, specifically looking to see if he ever took any computer science courses. Back at the station, just as Xiao Ting is walking inside, she spots a young girl out of the corner of her eye. She is standing by the flower bed with totally bloodshot eyes, so Xiao Ting walks over.
She approaches and asks her gently, "Hello, I work here. Are you here for some official business?" The girl replies she's a student at Ye Chen University.
And she says, I heard Professor Zhang Ning was actually murdered a year ago.
Is this actually real?
Are you Professor Zhang's student? Yes, my name is Xiao Xingran.
I was his student. We were broke.
I almost dropped out over tuition, but the kind professor quietly paid it for me. He kept encouraging her, always proving that he was a truly wonderful man. The absolute best teacher.
People are staring in the lobby, so follow me inside.
We will find somewhere quiet. Handing her a cup of water to calm down, the detective begins questioning. Zhang Ning was murdered 1 year ago.
They are actively investigating the cold case right now.
She needs her to recall exactly when she last saw the professor and what happened. Under what circumstances? Back then, the college had one highly coveted French exchange spot.
Zhang strongly recommended her.
It was practically a done deal, but everything suddenly changed. Xu's favorite student, Lin Qingqian, stole it. That last day, she saw Jiang Ning arguing with Professor Xu. The argument was absolutely brutal. The detective instantly locks onto that name, the girl who took her place.
Was she really named Lin Qianqian?
How are her grades back then? Wiping her tears, she reveals she was ranked number 1. Lin Qianqian barely made top 20. Yet, solely because of Xu's heavy recommendation, she got it.
The spot went to Lin Qianqian anyway.
From the art studio nearby, she heard Zhang yelling in pure anger. He screamed at Xu Baiyan, I will ruin your entire career. This clue is absolutely massive. Can she see him one last time?
She wants to say goodbye, but the investigation is still active. But she can attend his final farewell. She hopes they catch the killer so he can rest in peace.
The detective wastes no time. Xiao Ting calls in Song Qing, ordering an immediate investigation. Check her entire history. Inside the interrogation room, Yibai Nian barely glances up. He mockingly scoffs at her. Only 1 hour remains of the 48-hour holding limit. His lawyer's already on the way.
He threatens to sue, but Xiao Ting just sits down unfazed.
Jiang's family sponsored his college. How Jiang Ning stood by him and supported him unconditionally. He sacrificed his own future for you. All for a mediocre professor like you, Yibai Nian. Was her final fate really just being murdered, stuffed into a suitcase, and dumped in a freezing lake? Do you feel any remorse? Officer, I seriously have absolutely no idea what you are even talking about, the suspect claims. He says his in-laws were good to him, and Ning Ning was amazing. He keeps all that in his heart, which is why he loved and cherished her so much. He claims he still has no clue how she actually ended up dead. And then this absolute clown starts fake crying again, claiming he is hurting more than anyone else. He wanted the truth to give them both closure. But instead, they found absolutely nothing and just locked him up to interrogate him over and over again. Is this an abuse of power? Asking if they were trying to force a confession out of him through exhaustion? Bro, this guy is actually so cold-blooded that actual reptiles would take lessons from him. He asks Detective Xiao if they are seriously unable to find the real killer. Just looking for a convenient scapegoat? And frame a devoted husband like him just to close the case quickly? But the detective stays dead calm. Instead, he just slams a stack of photos onto the table, telling him to look.
Yibai Nian looks down, and he instantly freezes in pure shock.
The photos clearly show his secret mistress, Lin Qian, holding a baby right next to his mother. And this child? Because on the birth certificate, the father is listed as Yibai Nian.
It turns out Jiang Ning had already discovered his affair with Lin Qian a long time ago.
She even knew about the pregnancy, and he was terrified she would expose them. So he silenced her. He panics, arguing that even if he cheated, he is not a murderer. Cheating is just a moral issue and a lifestyle choice, he desperately tries to argue. He insists his wife's death has absolutely nothing to do with him. Right at that moment, the forensics team rushes into the room holding Jiang Ning's old phone. They found it hidden in a cheap rental room, registered under his father's name. Checking his college files, they confirmed he took advanced computer science courses back then. And get this, he is an expert at spoofing location data and manipulating files. Once they run a fingerprint analysis on that device, his lies are totally finished. Seriously, watching this absolute trash husband finally get completely cornered is just so satisfying.
He completely breaks down.
He buries his face in his hands, his voice completely cracking. Stuttering through his tears, he claims he never wanted to kill her, but she cornered him. He explains he was just a poor kid from the mountains who loved her. Her grades were always better. Seeing him struggle, she kindly stepped in to tutor him every day. But when he got into college, his family could not afford a single penny of his tuition. So Jiang Ning convinced her parents to sponsor his entire university education. He swore to do anything for her. He wanted to repay that debt, so they eventually tied the knot. To the rest of the world, they looked like a perfect match made in heaven. Honestly, nobody realized just how bitter and frustrated this guy actually felt inside. Her art was constantly winning awards, and she even got promoted to associate professor way before him. See, the only reason Yibai Nian made it out of his mountain village and got a teaching job was entirely because of his wife, Jiang Ning, and her family's massive connections. Whenever he went back to her parents' house, they acted polite enough on the surface. But their every word basically implied Jiang Ning married down, and he was just a gold digger. To them, this guy was always going to be nothing more than a charity case. Just some poor kid who only stood on his own feet because of their handouts. He couldn't even argue with his wife without being labeled as completely ungrateful. It literally felt like being trapped in an invisible net that kept tightening until he couldn't even breathe. Now, he tried to swallow all that resentment, telling himself it was just the price of admission. But there was one major deal breaker he simply couldn't stomach. She was infertile. The doctors made it clear the issue was 100% on her end, but guess how she casually brushed it off back then?
She was just like, "It is fine, Banyan, we can just live child-free as dinks." But here's the thing. His hometown was a deeply traditional mountain village. Every single time he called home, his mother would literally cry over the phone.
She would ask what sin she committed in her past life, but since he genuinely loved her, he forced himself to accept this childless marriage even as the years kept ticking by on him. But seeing his colleagues post baby photos online and watching his mother constantly wipe away tears, it absolutely tore him apart inside. And then, boom, enter Lin Qian, a smart student who came from his hometown. Her family was even poorer, and he was actually the one sponsoring her.
Later on, she got into Ye Chen University and ended up becoming his student. She absolutely idolized him, saying his lectures were way better than any other teacher in the school. She even told him he shouldn't be living under Professor Zhang Ning's shadow. To him, Lin Qian was just a deeply grateful, hardworking student who actually appreciated him. So he gave her some special attention since they both came from the exact same village. Plus, since he sponsored her, cheating had not even crossed his mind at that point. That is, until 3 years ago, when his mother brought a group of their country relatives to the city. Coincidentally, Zhang Ning was way too busy that day to host them all in person. So his mother bought some groceries and decided to just cook a simple meal at home. Now they had a dog that Zhang Ning had rescued 7 years back. Just some random stray she had found somewhere, but the dog was usually pretty well behaved around guests.
Except on that day, it simply would not stop barking wildly at one of the visitors.
It even bared its teeth, and the guest got so annoyed that he straight up kicked the dog. He must have kicked it pretty hard because the dog passed out and then the guest started instigating.
Saying since the dog was out cold, they might as well slaughter it for hot pot. Like, bro, what?
To liven things up, later, the second Zhang Ning got home, she immediately looked for her dog. When she could not find it, his mother lied and said the disobedient thing ran away on its own. But Zhang Ning was absolutely not buying it. She immediately checked the living room security camera and saw the whole truth. Finding out they literally ate her beloved dog, she absolutely lost her mind on the spot. And honestly, who wouldn't? She caused a massive scene, refusing to let it go and dragging his entire family over. She forced his mother and relatives to apologize and then kicked them right out of the house. Evicting his own mother right then and there completely destroyed this man's pride in front of everyone.
She knew people back in the village would gossip about him, and yet she kept claiming she loved him.
But over one simple dog, she humiliated him completely, and honestly, the sheer stress literally made his mother physically sick.
He actually claims his wife Zhang Ning looked down on him like a dog just because she didn't visit his parents. And get this, he acts like he's a saint for never blaming her for not being able to have kids. Unbelievable, right?
He even defends his mom stewing Zhang Ning's dog, blaming the poor pet for biting his relatives first. The investigator, Xiao Ting, is visibly disgusted. That dog was with her for 7 whole years. It proved she was a deeply loving person who couldn't wait to get home from work. Her happiest moment was probably her dog bringing her slippers to the door every single evening and taking it out for a walk after dinner, yet his mom and relatives literally stewed it. Xiao Ting asks if he ever considered her pain, but he just coldly says he knows she was upset.
Then he has the nerve to say he offered to buy her a new dog, but she refused? Bro, what?
Honestly, even dogs have more humanity than this heartless husband. He is literally worse than an animal, yet instead of reflecting, he plays the victim. He seriously asks why heaven took Zhang Ning's parents instead of him if he's the bad guy. Absolute psycho behavior.
He claims even God hated them, arguing her parents' tragic death was karma despite them treating him like their own son.
He insists they secretly looked down on him and his rural parents this whole time. After losing her parents and injuring her wrist, Zhang Ning was completely shattered and couldn't paint anymore. She became emotionally fragile, constantly stressed out, and triggered by even the smallest things. Always arguing with him, he was completely fed up with her. When she was too depressed to visit his hometown for New Year, he just abandoned her. He went back alone, only to face his gossip-loving relatives whispering behind his back. They kept poking at their childless marriage, which felt like a slap to his fragile ego. He felt deeply humiliated, and his fragile pride was completely bruised. His mother gave him a harsh ultimatum. She needed a grandson before she died. At that exact time, his young student Lin Qianqian happened to be vacationing nearby. Depressed and feeling trapped, he saw his own home as a cold, lifeless prison. His family was pressuring him, and guess who swoops in? Yup, Lin Qianqian.
She knew he was vulnerable and started visiting him under the guise of comforting him.
She was incredibly sweet, always knowing exactly what to say to stroke his ego. And then, boom! One night, after having a few too many drinks, he crosses the line. They end up hooking up, and right after, she clings to him, playing the sweet, innocent girl. She literally tells him not to feel guilty, promising she won't ruin his marriage. She claims she's loved him forever and doesn't even care about being the side chick. And honestly, what toxic guy could resist a pretty, submissive girl worshiping him? After that first time, there was absolutely no stopping them from doing it again and again. They kept their affair a total secret, with her acting like the perfect low-maintenance mistress.
He never actually planned to divorce Jiang Ning, though. After all, keeping up his public image as the perfect husband was way too important.
He knew leaving his grieving, injured wife would ruin his reputation instantly. Everyone would call him a monster, so he decided to have his cake and eat it too. And since Lin Qianqian was his student, nobody would ever suspect a thing. This disgusting double life went on completely undetected for 2 whole years. But then, the quiet and obedient mistress suddenly gets way too bold. She waits until the wife goes on a business trip, then sneaks right into their house.
She puts on Jiang Ning's silk nightgown, sprays her perfume, and just makes herself at home.
Lying in the wife's bed, waiting for him, she says the thrill of sneaking around is the best part. And honestly, this trash husband actually agreed with her. Truly made for each other. This guy Xu Beinan is totally addicted to the thrill of cheating whenever his wife Jiang Ning leaves the house. He constantly sneaks his mistress Lin Qianqian over, completely ignoring the security cameras Jiang Ning set up in the living room. But since he is a tech-savvy guy, every single time Lin Qianqian sneaks over, he easily hacks the security system beforehand so his wife never notices a single thing. But of course, secrets always get out eventually. Jiang Ning loves collecting rare, niche perfumes. One day, Lin Qianqian comes over and casually steals one of those expensive perfume bottles. Jiang Ning searches everywhere for it but has no luck until Lin Qianqian visits Xu Baiyan at his office. Jiang Ning catches the scent of that exact perfume on him but decides not to confront him right there. She calmly acts like she is leaving for a business trip, and this clueless guy actually believes her. So that very night, he brings Lin Qianqian right back to his house, but get this. Right in the middle of their secret hookup, things get wild. Jiang Ning bursts through the door and catches them both completely red-handed. She instantly beats the crap out of both of them, forcing this coward to beg for mercy. Jiang Ning makes him write a formal confession letter, and at that point, he genuinely is not planning to kill her just yet. But then, plot twist. Lin Qianqian finds out she is pregnant, and when his mother hears the news, she literally threatens suicide to force him to keep Lin Qianqian in. Protect the unborn baby. Talk about insane pressure. This family is toxic as hell. He has no choice but to send Lin Qianqian abroad as an exchange student to give birth. This sparks an absolute screaming match with Jiang Ning, who threatens to expose his cheating and completely ruin his career. After that, Jiang Ning stops staying at their new apartment, moving back to their old house instead. Xu Baiyan is absolutely terrified that she will follow through on her threat and actually ruin his life, so he crawls back to beg her one last time. But the second he unlocks the door, he sees her sitting right in front of the TV. On the screen, a video of him and Lin Qianqian in bed is playing on loop. She glares at him with pure hatred and calls him by his name, Xu Baiyan. What do you think happens if I play this video on the big screen during the school anniversary? What becomes of your perfect husband act and your respected professor persona? The social image you spent over 10 years building will be completely destroyed. In a panic, he lunges forward and snatches the phone right out of her hand, deleting the video instantly. But seeing the sheer terror in his eyes, she just sneers and asks if he finally knows how to be afraid. When Lin Qianqian wore my nightgown and sprayed my perfume to sleep with you, where was your fear? Xu Baiyan, I have been with you since I was a teenager, and now we finally have everything. Yet you cheat on me with zero conscience. Have you no shame at all? He snaps back, asking if she has any shame herself for chasing him since she was a teenager.
How dare she talk about shame when she begged to marry him? Jiang Ning immediately slaps him hard. She yells that without her and her parents backing him up, he would be absolutely nothing today.
Those harsh words completely shatter his fragile male ego, and honestly, he is such a pathetic villain.
His eyes turn red as his face twists in pure, unbridled rage. He grabs her by the neck and squeezes hard, completely ignoring her violent struggles. His grip is like a steel vice, and he tells himself she forced him into this dead end.
That he had to choke her to death. But he does not stop there.
In a blind fury, he grabs a heavy ashtray and bashes her head repeatedly.
Once he finally cools down, panic sets in and he stuffs her body into a suitcase. Then he dumped her body, and with that, his cold-blooded confession was complete. Xu Baiyan breaks down, sobbing hysterically as a wave of twisted, complex emotions finally catches up to him.
He actually regrets choking out the very woman who stood by him through his darkest days.
Watching the entire interrogation from behind the glass, our forensic doctor's heart completely sinks.
Honestly, ladies, never date down to help a man build, because you rarely get gratitude. Instead, you become an eyesore they resent, especially if they have a massive, fragile ego. Once these ungrateful, insecure scrubs get a little taste of success, they completely forget where they came from. Xu Baiyan and Jiang Ning are the textbook example. She was always way more successful than him.
Her family was wealthy, too, which secretly shattered his ego and left him feeling insanely insecure.
And then there is his mother.
She had this wildly misplaced confidence, believing her son made it out of the mountains all on his own. Because of that, he never felt a single shred of gratitude toward Jiang Ning or her family. His mother honestly thought her son was a god, and that Jiang Ning was lucky to even have him. To make things worse, Jiang Ning could not have children, which made him feel completely untouchable.
He literally killed the dog she raised for 7 years and still had the nerve to act completely innocent.
Just an animal, he claimed. Zero remorse. Xiao Ting steps out. She turns to the tired detectives and tells them they have all been working incredibly hard.
No overtime tonight. Everyone pack up and go get some much-needed sleep.
Our girl Ao Zhao heads back to the forensic lab to clock out, but barely takes a few steps before she spots a tall, striking figure heading straight toward Captain Xiao Ting.
Enter Su Yibai, the handsome tech expert.
Ah Cheng jokes that Su Yibai was the station heartthrob until Xiao Ting arrived and stole the crown. Xiao Ting just rolls her eyes, telling Ah Cheng to cut out the heartthrob nonsense. From down the hall, Ah Zhao watches Su Yibai follow the captain right into her office.
Wait, seriously? Their boss is insanely popular, but she is somehow blind to her own toxic fiancé.
It is like he cast some spell on her, because out of all her gorgeous pursuers,
she only has eyes for that vain, arrogant guy who constantly looks down on her. When asked if their boss really has that many suitors, Ah Cheng brings up Su Yibai. Every single time that guy sees Captain Xiao Ting, he gets total hard eyes.
And that is not even the wildest part. A wealthy tycoon was kidnapped a while back. Xiao Ting saved him, and the guy literally tried to marry her as a thank you.
He sent 99 roses to the office daily and bought the whole team massive feasts.
But Xiao Ting shut it down, threatening to arrest him for harassment if he ever returned.
Pure comedy. That is classic, ice-cold Xiao Ting.
She is just built different. Ah Cheng smiles, telling Ah Zhao not to envy her boss. He tells her she is gorgeous too, promising to set her up with some handsome guys. Thanking him with a laugh, Ah Zhao finally clocks out and heads to the local grocery store. She recently moved into a rented apartment and has been too busy to cook a real meal. Carrying her grocery bags, she steps into the elevator just as the doors are about to close. But at the last second, someone presses the button outside and the doors slide open again.
Xiao Ting steps in, and the moment their eyes meet, a flash of shock hits them both.
Since Xiao Ting instantly looks away, Ah Zhao plays along, pretending they are complete strangers. But then she notices Xiao Ting didn't press a button. Do they seriously live on the same floor?
No shot she followed her here. What happened to her strict rule about never sleeping with coworkers? Acting so pure and proper now. Finally, the elevator stops at the 6th floor.
The elevator doors open and Ye Chen steps out first.
He keeps an eye on Xiao Ting, and sure enough, she follows.
As she steps into the hallway, Ye Chen takes a few paces.
He suddenly spins around to face her, a move Xiao Ting definitely did not expect. Before she can even halt her steps, she crashes straight into his chest. Talk about a classic K-drama trope.
Xiao Ting quickly stumbles back, dodging him like he is some kind of plague.
Both amused and annoyed, Ye Chen sets down his bags and takes a step closer. Xiao Ting stops backing away, glaring up to demand what he is doing. He looks down at her as window light spills into the hallway. It hits her cold face, making her look surprisingly fragile and beautiful. Remembering how incredibly compatible they were that night, he slowly licks his lips. Her brow visibly furrows as she snaps at Ye Chen to be serious. Looking deep into her eyes, he delivers a half-hearted apology with a smirk. He admits he is just remembering her eating cherries, making her cheeks flush.
Get to the point, she flusteredly snaps at him.
Honestly, if they did not look identical, he would think she has a split personality.
He asks why she is playing dumb, since she clearly followed him.
Did she not say she does not hook up with coworkers? Yet here she is. He chuckles, teasing Captain Xiao for showing up right at his doorstep. But instead of responding, Xiao Ting walks right past him to the opposite door. She punches in her coat and slams the door shut with a loud bang. Total plot twist. She was not following him at all. She lives right across the hall. His brain goes totally numb. Face burning red, he takes a deep breath. He grabs his bags from the floor and quickly bolts inside his own apartment. Rushing straight to the bathroom, he splashes cold water on his face. Once the embarrassment finally wears off, he eats dinner while texting his best friend, Xiao Yibai.
He tells him he blocked Fu Nian, saying people compare love to raising flowers.
But Fu Nian is pure weed killer. Anyone who gets close gets totally ruined.
His friend warns him not to let one toxic girl ruin all other women.
But Ye Chen replies that he is actually super open-minded about this. Beautiful women are totally fine for dating, but actually marrying one is just a massive loss. Just then, his mother calls him, asking him to come home for dinner this weekend.
Sure, Mom, I know. Weekend dinner? Got it.
When he goes back to text Xiao Yibai, he suddenly notices something is off. The cynical message about marrying beautiful women is not in their chat history at all. He backs out of the chat and sees 99 plus unread messages in his work group. Tapping the notification, he instantly freezes in pure horror.
Oh my God, he accidentally posted that highly inappropriate comment in the company chat.
It is way too late to recall it, and everyone has already seen it. The chat is exploding. He literally wants to die. He scrolls through the incoming texts, desperately wishing he could just leave the group. One particular message stands out, a warning for him never to book hotel rooms. It warns him not to ruin their precinct's reputation, making his mouth twitch with rage. Why is she so hostile? Honestly, Ye Chen just joined this police station, so he decides to let it go. There is no point arguing with people in the group chat. He remembers he already added Zhang Lei and the wedding party on WeChat. But he still hasn't added Xiao Ting yet, so he searches the group chat and finds her profile. He types his name in the request note and officially sends her a friend invite. Having her WeChat will make work communication way easier. He heads to the kitchen to wash the dishes. After finishing the dishes, he grabs his phone, but Xiao Ting still has not accepted his friend request.
He hangs his freshly washed laundry out on the balcony and heads into the bathroom to take a quick shower.
Checking the screen once more, he finds she is still leaving him on red.
At this point, he is getting pretty annoyed. Seriously, what is this woman's actual problem?
Is she ignoring him on purpose? He does not want to overthink it. So he walks straight across the hall and knocks on her apartment door until it finally opens.
She clearly just got out of the shower, and her thin robe is clinging to her body.
He instantly flashes back to their wild night together. Why act so cold now?
Is she just sexually frustrated? She warns him to keep his hands to himself.
Why is she pretending they're total strangers? He looks at her deadpan face, and it is actually kind of hilarious. It is honestly pretty funny, considering he knows exactly how many moles she has on her hips. She snaps that she has no moles there. He smirks and tells her, "Let him check then." Let's see if there really are none. He reaches out his finger. But she presses her finger right against his chest as he gets close. Ye Chen, I am not falling for your games.
Ye Chen laughs and points out that she sure seemed to enjoy eating that bowl of food he made.
She is nearly laughing from pure anger at how shameless this guy is, especially since he is teasing her about that night. Are you trying to back out now? She tells him to stop flirting. Declaring she has zero interest in him, she is met with his smirk. Then why was she so active that night? Her mouth is definitely the toughest part of her entire body. She finally asks what he actually wants. He holds up his phone and complains that he sent her a WeChat request over an hour ago. Is she doing this on purpose or just pretending not to see, even if they are not friends?
They still need to use WeChat to communicate about official police business, do they not?
He leans close to her ear and asks if she cannot separate business from pleasure.
Xiao Ting backs herself against the doorframe, but her eyes naturally slide down to scan his abs.
She gets super flustered thinking of that night. Honestly, their tension is unmatched. Shoving him out of her doorway, she tells him she will accept the request in a minute. His nose almost slams straight into the door. Man, this girl's got a seriously wild temper. Back in his room, he waits another half an hour before Xiao Ting finally accepts his request. So cold and tsundere, she is basically a grumpy little kitten. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a dark, narrow alley where a heavily injured man is running. He is fleeing in pure panic, but several men are hot on his heels. Running until his lungs burn, those dangerous-looking guys eventually catch up and grab him. In the quiet of the night, a blood-curdling scream echoes out as the man is left lying in the freezing woods. A massive pool of blood stains his body as his lifeless eyes stare blankly. With a deafening crash, a sudden bolt of lightning explodes outside the window. Suddenly, Ye Chen snaps his eyes open and sits straight up in bed, his pajamas completely drenched in cold sweat. His heart is pounding like crazy. Meanwhile, a groggy Xiao Ting is still half asleep in her bed. She suddenly hears a knock at the door. Honestly, she has not been sleeping well lately. Having finally fallen asleep after hours of trying, she is incredibly annoyed to be woken up. When the knocking finally stops, she assumes Ye Chen has gone back to his own apartment. Suddenly, a video call rings on her phone, but Xiao Ting just ignores it and heads to the front door. She asks Ye Chen to stop standing around like a statue, wanting to know what is wrong with him. He looks at Captain Xiao and asks if he can crash at her place just for tonight. She instantly says no, but he promises he won't try anything funny. He insists he just wants some company, but Xiao Ting stares back with absolute suspicion.
She teases him, asking if an actual forensic doctor is really afraid of the dark.
Seeing that she finally isn't locking him out, Ye Chen quickly slips inside the house.
Xiao Ting points to the guest room and tells him to sleep there, but he completely ignores her.
He marches straight into her master bedroom, showing off some serious final boss energy. She runs after him, angrily reminding him that she has a strict rule against sleeping with colleagues. Ye Chen smirks, asking why her head is so full of dirty thoughts, since he never asked for a round two. He tells her not to flatter herself, but she points out that he literally knocked on her door at midnight. Now he is taking over her bedroom while expecting her to just ignore it. He tells her to relax. He is in a terrible mood tonight and won't pester her.
He gives her an ultimatum. She can either share the bed or make a bed on the floor.
She tells him to keep dreaming and says she's going to the guest room. Suddenly, another loud thunderclap shakes the house, making Ye Chen's face turn completely pale. He begs her to stay and keep him company for the sake of their past physical history. She hesitates, then finally walks into the closet to grab a blanket and sets up a spot on the floor.
He watches her lay down, feeling annoyed that she'd literally rather sleep on the floor than with him.
Frustrated, he rolls over to sleep, vowing that one day he will make her beg to be in his bed. The lights go out, plunging the room into darkness, but it doesn't stay quiet for long. He sneaks right off the bed and onto her floor mat, almost getting kicked out by an annoyed Xiao Ting. He quickly wraps his arms around her, begging her not to push him away. 2 years ago, and this backstory is actually so tragic, his brother came back for his wedding but got followed by criminals. Those monsters brutally murdered him, throwing his body into the wilderness like absolute trash. His brother was an undercover cop who only got caught because he wanted to deliver a wedding gift. Those ruthless criminals would rather slaughter an innocent person than risk leaving any loose ends. And to make matters worse, that entire criminal organization is still out there running free. Honestly, Ye Chen actually applied to go undercover a year ago to get revenge. But his superiors rejected him, saying he needed at least another year of solid training first. She looks at him, quietly admitting that he is far more courageous than she ever gave him credit for. He shrugs, saying someone has to fight on the front lines to protect their peace. His late brother is his ultimate role model, and he only has one dream left. He wants to personally bring down the monsters who took his brother, and then he looks at Xiao Ting. He asks her why she decided to become a forensic doctor in the first place. Seeing her hesitate, he tells her she doesn't have to answer, as she quietly hides her emotions. She murmurs that it was for someone very important, which instantly grabs his full attention. He can tell there is a deep story there, but she quickly shuts down the topic. Xiao Ting strictly warns him that their night at the bar was a mistake she won't repeat.
She tells him to forget about playing with her feelings, which honestly offends him a bit.
He wonders which eye saw him playing around, though he really thought he would be too restless to sleep. But breathing in her familiar, comforting scent, his heavy eyelids slowly start to drift closed. He drifts off to sleep, but by the time morning rolls around, Xiao Ting is already gone. He neatly folds the blanket for her before quietly slipping out of the bedroom. Walking past the kitchen, he spots the incredibly stunning Xiao Ting. She is standing by the counter making breakfast. Honestly, who knew she could cook? It actually looks decent, but she coldly tells him to eat in his own apartment. Ye Chen raises an eyebrow, asking if they can just eat together. Absolutely not, she snaps, asking Ye Chen if he thinks he is just some irresistible charm god. Like every girl he flirts with is supposed to fall for him. But what is her deal? Did she eat gunpowder for breakfast? He asks if she really was not tempted at all. Because if not, why did she sleep with him that night? Did he force her? She hits back with a low blow, asking why his ex-wife cheated if he is so confident. Get out, she yells. Fine, he says. He is leaving. It is not like he cares anyway, and he storms out of there completely furious. He cools down and heads to work, realizing he is running late. Sprinting into the office building, he quickly presses the elevator button. The elevator is packed, and guess who is standing right there? It is his morning fight partner. Xiao Ting sees him step inside, but she does not even spare him a glance. He ignores her right back. Meanwhile, Chen Zhao is waving from the corner. She greets him saying Brother Yi looks super handsome today. He thanks her and mentions he just ordered coffee for everyone. He promises to treat them. As they exit the elevator, though, he and Xiao Ting still act like total strangers. Soon, the coffee arrives. He tells everyone in the forensics and detective divisions to grab theirs. Everyone gets a cup. Chen Zhao walks into Xiao Ting's office holding one. She tells her boss that Ye Chen is seriously nice and loaded, treating them all to premium coffee, but then she brings up the morning elevator ride. She admits she felt some heavy tension between her boss and Ye Chen. Are you guys fighting? Xiao Ting instantly shuts her down with a freezing glare. She scoffs, asking if she cannot afford her own coffee without drinking his. Chen Zhao panics, saying she did not mean it like that and was just curious. Ye Chen just joined their unit, so how did they clash so fast? Xiao Ting tells her to stop imagining things. Chen Zhao sips her drink, asking if they can finally close Jiang Ning's case. Xiao Ting decides to hold off on the report, sensing something is off with Xu Bainian's confession. Like a piece is missing. Just then, Ye Chen leans against the doorframe holding his coffee. He smirks, walks in, and slides a lab report right onto her desk. What a coincidence, he says, because he felt the exact same way. These are the test results from carpet fibers found in Xu Bainian's study. They are a perfect match to the lining of the suitcase holding Jiang Ning's body. And here is the kicker. They also found traces of Lin Qianchen's nail glue. Xiao Ting quickly grabs the report. She asks if this means Lin Qianchen was involved in the crime. Ye Chen nods, confirming that is exactly what the forensics data shows.
Xu Bainan claimed he killed her in a sudden fit of rage.
But this fiber residue proves Lin Qianchen was right there in the old house that night. She is not just an innocent bystander. She is an active accomplice. Xiao Ting immediately orders the team to prep the interrogation room and bring all the evidence. They pull Lin Qianchen in for questioning, but at first she plays the innocent victim card. She claims she only wanted to scare Jiang Ning, but once Xiao Ting drops the nail glue evidence, along with the security footage of him lurking near the old house, seeing it, his mental defenses collapsed. He slumped in his chair and confessed to everything, revealing what actually happened that night. Lin Qianchen had been hiding in the bedroom. Hearing them fight over the affair tape, he quietly grabbed a crystal ashtray. He handed it to Shu Banyan as Zheng Ning struggled.
He pinned his hands and feet down until he died.
Then he helped Shu Banyan stuff the body into a suitcase. No trace left behind, yet the evidence was ironclad. Both Zhu Banyan and Lin Chanchan were officially arrested for intentional homicide. Severe punishment was waiting. The university expelled him, leaving his parents too humiliated to show their faces in the village. Now his kid will have to grow up without any parents around. So heartbreaking, but when the final verdict came down, the entire police squad finally breathed a sigh of relief as all that heavy tension washed away. This sweet taste of justice hit way harder than any normal case.
With the case fully closed, the friction between Ye Chen and Xiao Ting was still at an all-time high.
The atmosphere between them was incredibly tense, and the rest of the team definitely noticed. They kept trying to play matchmaker, only to get instantly shut down by Xiao Ting's icy death stares. Life went on. But 2 weeks later, a body was found in an abandoned factory out of town. The victim was a known fugitive linked to multiple major drug smuggling rings, and the investigation led straight back to the same deadly syndicate that killed Ye Chen's brother. The higher-ups finally approved his request to go undercover, disguising him as a shady black market doctor.
His goal? Infiltrate and gather evidence.
Late the night before, Xiao Ting called Ye Chen into his quiet office. Ye Chen stepped inside. Under the dim lamps, Xiao Ting looked surprisingly gentle, dropping his usual icy persona. He warned him that the mission was incredibly dangerous. "You absolutely have to protect yourself," he said, "and prioritize your safety above everything else." Ye Chen smiled, telling him that his favorite forensic expert was built different, especially with Xiao Ting backing him up. Xiao Ting just rolled his eyes, telling him to take this seriously. He handed him a tracker, telling him to use it to signal for help the second things went south. But going undercover was pure hell. The boss constantly tested Ye Chen, even forcing him to perform an autopsy on one of their own traitors. It was a test of his identity. Whenever he faced danger, the thought of Xiao Ting and his brother's tragic death kept him alive. He grit his teeth and held on for 3 whole months. He finally gathered core evidence, uncovering everything. He mapped out their bases. The final sting was set for a stormy night, just like the night his brother died. Xiao Ting led the frontal assault, while Ye Chen struck from within. Pure chaos erupted. In the madness, the syndicate leader recognized Ye Chen and lunged forward with a massive blade. At the last second, Xiao Ting jumped in front of him and took the hit. A rogue blade slices right through her police uniform, leaving a massive cut on her arm. Seeing that deep wound makes our boy Ye Chen completely see red. He slams the gang leader to the ground and starts absolutely pummeling his face. Other cops finally pull him back, but he is just staring at Xiao Ting's bleeding arm. It honestly completely breaks him. He desperately asks her if she is stupid and why she did not dodge. But she just smiles through the pain and gently wipes the blood off his face. She tells him she is the captain, so protecting her squad is her duty. He is absolutely not just a regular teammate. Ye Chen looks down at her, his eyes filled with pure sincerity and love. From their first bar encounter to working the Qingshan Lake case, she is all he thinks about. For 3 whole months, he's basically thought of her every single day. He just wants her back. She's always had his whole heart. This is not some temporary fling either, because he actually wants to be with her. For a lifetime. At that exact moment, Xiao Ting tearfully looks away, but he gently reaches out and turns her face back. He leans down to kiss her, and this time, she does not pull away. Finally, the payoff! Instead, she wraps her arms tightly around his neck and finally starts returning this long-awaited kiss. The cold night wind and rain howl around them, but cannot chill their warmth. At this point, the crime syndicate is crushed, and his brother's killers are all caught. His beloved brother is finally avenged, and honestly, this justice hits so good. Every single villain got what they deserved, letting him finally let go of the past. Now he can finally move forward, with Xiao Ting standing right there beside him. She gently takes his hand, her warmth bringing him a profound sense of peace. With the massive final case wrapped up, their secret relationship is finally out in the open. Of course, the bureau colleagues saw this coming from miles away and started teasing. Chen Zhao immediately starts demanding wedding suites, while Su Yibai smiles and warmly offers his congratulations.
Shortly after, Xiao Ting packs up her place and moves directly into his apartment.
Living together, she eventually opens up about exactly why she wanted to become a cop. It was for her late father, a veteran detective who died protecting others. She wanted to carry on his legacy and keep their city safe in his stead.
He gently holds her close and whispers his promise of a lifetime.
A year later, right in front of their entire supportive police squad, Ye Chen gets down on one knee to propose. Xiao Ting, I am a forensic doctor who deals with death daily, but my only real fear is losing you. For the rest of our lives, I want to be your protective armor.
And block every storm for you. So, will you marry me?
Xiao Ting tearfully nods and happily holds out her hand so he can slide the ring on. Her brilliant smile under the sun has absolutely none of her old cold distance. They decide to keep the wedding incredibly simple, only inviting their immediate families and closest precinct colleagues. Naturally, Chen Zhao is the bridesmaid, and Song Qing stands as best man.
These two are definitely going to stay happy and protect each other forever. You'll love to see it.
Guarding their beloved careers while always keeping the peace and warmth for this entire city they love.